And we come to our second propaganda card, and it hasn't been actually that terribly many cards. I guess a couple. So there has been some playing off camera. And the warlords are in the victory zone, however their resources are not quite high enough. They need to be up to 41. So no one wins again. The warlords are, I guess actually, because I think this is -1 still here. So the Taliban's actually probably the closest. And I do, whenever the propaganda card comes out, I double check this just in case I miss something as I'm playing. The Taliban got wiped out on the board and are slowly making their way back in. It seems like if the coin players can put a barrier up here and wipe out the bases and such, it's pretty powerful for them. So we'll do our propaganda card. When the coalition had just taken this, number 2 is dead, which wiped out the Taliban resources and took them out of Pakistan there. So the propaganda card coming up now was perfect for the Taliban, although they're only going to get 7 resources, so they're going to be pretty limited. They're going to have to do a lot of extortion. But also for the government, they were down to 2 resources there. However, they're going to get 51. They keep bumping that 8 up. They did a lot of, what's it called, eradication. So no victory, and we'll do resources. Looks like they're going to get their full boat. They protected their locks pretty well. So I think that's 12, right? 7. At 12 plus 51. Yeah, 63 plus 2 is 65. Taliban's going to get 7. And the warlords are only going to get 5. So they need to build some bases. Or figure out a way to get their resources up some other way. Which I think they have. Yeah, they can traffic. No casualties, so he doesn't drop. Taliban hasn't been very aggressive, but I don't think they've been able to. Yeah. Alright, we'll do civic actions. So, we talked about before that it's building buying opposition away and building support. It has to be coin-controlled spaces, and the coalition has to have more. They also win ties. So this is going to be... They definitely want to... Well, I'll do 1 there. Here, the government's not going to let them. Government's going to let them do 1 there. Maybe we'll put this there so that we know it's 2. Oh, there's only 1 there. That one's going to be expensive. But the coalition definitely wants to build support up. So this is 3. Let's see if it's worth it. Well, let's start up here. So this is 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'll just do it that way. So this is 3, which will drop the Taliban 1. One, 2, 3. I'll finish this up. Coalition did decide to build support in these spaces, which got them up to 17. So they, let's see. I think I did that backwards. Oops, wasn't showing anything. So they can pull another 10 troops off, 10, 12, so they can pull 10, 12 troops off, which can get them to 29, so they need 2 or 3 more support to build here. They don't have it on the board right now. There's no place that the government will let them do it. But so the idea with that for the coalition is they want to build support up, and then they can do a drawdown right before a propaganda, get their available forces up, and snag the win that way. But the government wants to prevent that as much as possible. The Taliban only has control of this space and that space, and that's fully opposed. So there's no Sharia there that they want to buy. We'll do desertion and all the redeployment. Alright, we're through the reset phase. These guys come off. So here's how it's looking. Taliban's making some inroads down here in the south, and then up through the middle. New cards come out. It's all government and coalition coming up, so figure out what they're gonna do. I'd say we're probably getting pretty close to another propaganda card. We've been through 2, so there's probably one somewhere in here, another one somewhere in here. We're about halfway through the deck, a little bit more it looks like. The warlords aren't doing quite as well. They were at 17, I think, the last time. The coin has a lot more control now. Taliban's also not doing as well. It's even a little bit. So, like we talked about, the coalition wants to be somewhere in here so that they can draw down and get their number up. The government, that's hard to get. It seems to be hard to get patronage, and it's easy for the warlords to take it away by suborning. No, not by suborning. Well, I guess they can't really take it away. Never mind. I guess that's been dropping through events or whatever. Anyway, here's the board. Taliban's having a really hard time making inroads. The government just did some sweeps, taking some more control away, which dropped the warlords again and bumped them up. But again, they need to get their patronage up, and they do that by eradicating warlord bases, but they weren't in a position to do that. They're going to be looking for that here shortly. Taliban needs to start spreading and terrorizing again to build opposition. They're going to have an opportunity to do that here and in here and in here, but again, not terribly much. We have the warlords coming up first. Teetotalers. Each base with a warlord piece, warlords may pay -1 resource per Taliban guerrilla to remove any of them. There's nowhere where that could take place. So that's actually probably also bad for the Taliban, because then they won't get. They're not going to take the event, so they're going to get a limited op. Although the Taliban could then take that, depending on what the warlords do. I don't know. I think honestly the coalition's probably closest, because they can do a couple support moves. They can do up here. They can train here, and then buy some civic actions. That'll take 2 turns. Seems like, yeah, in here too. But this one is 2, so that's 3 support right there that they could use to get up to 22. and then do a well-timed drawdown on that second move, pull everything out, potentially win. I don't think the government's anywhere near. And I don't think the warlords anywhere near either. They were close. So we'll get back to it. So one of the fascinating things about this, we're only, I think, 3 or 4 cards further along. The Taliban just positioned themselves pretty well. They did some ambushes, took out some coalition troops, took out some government troops, positioned themselves pretty well to terrorize in Kabul, in Khost, and in Kandahar. On this card, the government passed. The government was really running out of resources. Government saw this card, they passed, allowed the Taliban to do that, which really hurt the coalition more than it hurt the government. This one comes up and it's a propaganda card, so the government's going to get to build up some resources. Coalition's going to get to do whatever they want, pretty much. They can do their, well, yeah, it's going to be interesting. The government has a tough decision. If they take this event, which maybe right now doesn't make sense because they're going to get 51 resources, so maybe the 15 doesn't seem as appealing. And if they take that event, the government can train and surge, pull all their troops off, which is only going to get them, oh, maybe they can train somewhere. Yep. So here's the thing. So if the government takes the event, they're going to get 15 resources, which is good for them. However, at the propaganda, they'll get 51. So is the 66 worth it? Maybe it is. But here's the thing. If they do that, the government the coalition can then do whatever they want. So they could train right here, not even put any troops out, but just train to build support here, which would get them to 21. They could then, nope, it still wouldn't, because these. So they only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They only have 8 out. So they could surge, which would get them to 29. They're two troops short because of that last ambush. Yeah, I think they both have a tough choice to make. The coalition probably doesn't want to surge and take everyone off if it's not going to get them to the win, because then it's harder for them to train. And maybe the government doesn't want the resources now. We'll come back after a decision's made.